Alright guys, welcome back to the MG YouTube channel. I'm your host Malachi Greb, CEO of Lead Automation, Lead Properties, and an investor in Tesla. So, the snow's kind of wrapping up. I made a bunch of other snow and FSD videos. I basically kind of want to wrap up some of these, the series, and really just kind of give you my full rundown of where I think FSD is at with this, and overall how I feel like it has done. And I want to make this wrap-up video because I don't think the storm's going to get any worse. The storm's basically already passed, and you know, we might have another day or so of being able to make some videos and whatnot, but well, that's really only going to be if like the snow starts to melt and then refreezes over at night, and then we get like a lot more ice. But the first thing I'm going to say, and really this kind of makes this video a little bit hard to make, is just the fact that FSD has literally done so freaking well in the snow that I want to say I don't really have any complaints. Now, will I say that there's no issues? Ooh, seems like that was perfect. Y'all just caught that perfectly. They need some help. They just got, let me see, buddy. Why'd they stop, bros? What's wrong with them? I'm trying to see. Ciao. They're not even trying to move. What the fuck's the problem? Okay, whatever. They just like pulled over into like this deep ass snow. I don't know if they kind of wrecked or why they did whatever they did, but you seen that Tesla, the FSD, just basically get us kind of out of that weird situation there where like they were kind of halfway veering over here, and there was another vehicle over to the left side that we couldn't move over into their lane, and so it pretty much did the right thing. The one thing I will say, just FSD in general, I think it should be a little bit more conservative if it's not taking an action, aka give a little bit more space between vehicles. Don't ride next to another vehicle unless you have intent to pass, right? Oh, why are you stopping? Okay, I'm about to give it gas because I got somebody behind me. I gotta go, dude. Why are you not fucking going? What the fuck is it doing? Okay, that's weird. I don't know why I wasn't wanting to go there. It doesn't normally do anything like that. So, but I'm glad it just showed up in the thing. So I forced it with the gas to go. It is kind of like an intersection where there's two lights that are kind of like, the lights are not like completely perpendicular. So it might have been seeing those left lights, and thinking that they were red, even though we had green lights in front of us. Like thought maybe they were like a left turn lane. Probably should expand this so we could see what that aspect of things is seeing, because that generally kind of helps showcase what FSD is seeing. So cool. We just seen like two weird instances right in this short little video. I'm glad I hit record. And that's also why I do a lot of these videos where I just kind of like talk on about things in FSD, because that's the only way you can really catch instances of FSD doing weird things. So my overall feedback, again, is it's done so well. And what I mean by it's done so well is it is operated pretty much like a human would operate. I don't know how well you can see, but there's like deep snow over here to the sides and stuff like that. And especially like whenever there's a corner and that corner has a lot of snow, we have a vehicle stopped in front of us, and a lot of sun glare. I don't know if you can see how much sun glare that is, but I can't barely see. I don't know if it's coming through on the camera or not. Oh, I have this down. Probably be bad. But that's a lot of sun glare, right? People talk about sun glare and Tesla can't see through it. I can barely see. My eyes are like pretty squinted just to see this way. But going back to it, whenever you have a lot of snow piled up on the sides, Tesla, the FSD is doing a really good job at like even swerving out and away from that deep snow. So it's definitively not only detecting the deep snow and swerving out and away from it versus just trying to like plow right through it, which is something that the other like version 13 would have done. It kind of just plowed right through things and it really didn't care. It had more like a trajectory of like, here's my tracks. These are the tracks that I need to be on. Like it's just following map data only. Whereas now it's like relieved itself from that map data and it's allowing itself to veer off. Now it's not quite map data, but it's just not following as strict of a path. It's making more instantaneous decisions and intelligent decisions to like go around things. Got snowplow down here. Okay. Which is the one thing that was very impressive. Another big thing that I really like in this one is it's finding the ruts in the road where other vehicles are driving, and it's following those ruts. It's keeping the tires in those ruts within like 3 to 6 inches or so. So it's doing phenomenally well at that. Again, that's another thing from version 13. It didn't care where the ruts were at in the road. It cared about where it thought the road lines were. And whenever it snows like this, people don't follow where the road lines are at. And so since people don't follow where the road lines are at, that's not the clearest path. By the way, we're getting into some like icy stuff right here. People are not following the road lines, so therefore the ruts are never in the appropriate spots where the road should be at, right? People are riding, with the white dashed line in the center of their vehicle. They're even driving their vehicle with the yellow line as the center of their vehicle, especially a road like this where it's a single lane each side, and you kind of have ravines that come off to the sides here. So if you go off into that, it's not going to be a good scenario. You're definitely going to be stuck. So people a lot of times are riding in the middle on that yellow line, and FSD is even doing that same thing until it sees a car coming ahead. As soon as it sees a car coming ahead, it gets over and does the appropriate thing to, allow the two vehicles to pass one another. So again, that's just operating like very, very intelligently. The only things that really that were problems, that I will say were major problems, is we did go over 2 curbs. One of them was like a back tire clip, no real issue at all. Just back tire like went up on the curb and then back down again. And really the only issue with that is, and these are parking lot speeds, by the way, not like road speeds. We were in parking lots both times, and the snow had completely covered the curb. And so, I couldn't even really tell there was a curb there at all, because the snow got like 10 inches deep or something like that. And again, I couldn't even see there was a curb there until we, had already hit it. Really the one fix to that, which I don't know that, they're going to do it all, but it's ride height. Should you be hitting curbs? No, not really. But at some point, you're testing the physics of the world around you. Vision's not going to be able to see it. LiDAR's not going to be able to see it. None of these things are going to be able to see it. If something's hidden under the snow, something's hidden under the snow. There's nothing that you can do about that. So, like, literally the only corrective action is to change the ride height of the vehicle, so you don't rip off your bumper whenever you hit a curb, which I think is a great use case for, like, Cybertruck. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Model X also has ride height adjustment, but I think that it's still not very much, right? The max elevation is just not very much. And especially if you're calling a vehicle an SUV, I think it really needs to have some major ride height. So we just tried to avoid something in the road right there. See this kid laying in the snow here. This is a pretty icy road right here with some decent curves in it. So this is gonna be a little bit interesting. I've been down this road already, so I'm confident it's gonna do fine. Oh, dang it, I lost my train of thought again, dude. Gosh, nabbit. Okay, here, we have a truck coming on us. I think it's going to do really well with allowing the two vehicles to pass. And like in these instances too, this is like one correction that I'd add, is that I would almost slow down even more when passing vehicles. On certain roads, it just depends. Like, it's kind of like almost a bit of a courtesy thing to like creep past each other, especially when it's like super snowy, super icy, those types of things. I guess go back to the ride height thing, yeah. So, like the Cybertruck has great ground clearance. Last year around this time, we were doing the whole DoorDash thing with the in the Cybertruck in the snow. And there was a couple instances where the dip was just gnarly. you know, and even not during a snowing time, right? Just the driveway itself is freaking gnarly, where it's like just a bumper ripper, you know, it just rips off bumpers. That's just like how it is, right? However, in the Cybertruck, it's never really an issue. But like the only issue I've had with my Cybertruck is that I have a trailer hitch that's really low to the ground, and if I'm not riding at like a higher ride height, my trailer hitch will drag the ground sometimes. Going up a hill, like when you go up a hill, that back end, little dog sitting here good, sees two humans. Dog listens well. But yeah. So that's just like a big thing that they could do to make it so that like you're not blowing out tires, you're not ripping off bumpers, you're keeping the condition of the vehicle good. By the way, I'm disengaging so I can park. I'm definitely not going to trust FSD to park in this scenario. Oh my god. And let me add on to that real quick. Let's just talk about full self-driving and full self-driving and what else? Oh, and like parking, final destination real quick. So in these conditions, you know, you might be able to say, oh, well, full self-driving can't be a thing because the vehicle, you know, can't park itself. First of all, the vehicle would have tried to park itself probably over there, which I don't want to be right now. But secondly, sorry, I'm dieting, guys, and my brain is like shot. I've been eating like 700 calories a day. So, basically one or two things. One, the vehicle's doing like 90% of the driving, so like you can get the thing out the driveway and then you can take a nap after you get out of the driveway. Okay, let's talk food delivery. The vehicle can just park right there on the road and say, I'm here. It doesn't have to pull in your driveway, you know? So is it inconvenient for it to drop you off a little bit further away from the door at the gym or whatever you're doing, you know, whatever it is? The only instances where I would say it's critical is like if you went to the grocery store and you have a bunch of groceries and it parked you like 4 houses down, like way up there. Well, I'm in a neighborhood where 4 houses down is a lot. It's like probably a quarter mile over there. You know, that would be an issue. However, I think that either it's going to fix itself over time anyway, or people are going to be able to either remote into the vehicle. And honestly, one thing that I would really like to see, and I think they could do this on a safety rated basis, but that's to be able to drive the vehicle with your phone. Okay, we have these video games and all these things where you can drive the vehicle with your phone. You can already summon the vehicle with your phone. You can actually go forward and reverse with your phone. I don't know if you know that. You can do that in a Tesla right now today. But you can't turn or anything like that. So, so all they got to do is like really add the capability to turn, right? Everything's already there and built into the car to be able to have that functionality, right? And so this really only matters in like a robo-taxi scenario. Like as an owner vehicle with the steering wheel, just grab the freaking steering wheel and operate the thing, right? But like let's say for instance, if I got a vehicle, or let's say a year or two down the road, if they don't have it FSD fixed, or there's always going to be a condition. I think they have to have it no matter what. I think there's always going to be a condition that robo-taxi won't be able to handle. The world is just too dynamic, right? There's humans that today are, you could say like, hey, I need you to get in that driveway, and they're like, bro, I can't do that. And then they're gonna ask for feedback. Well, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? What do you want me to do instead? I can't get to that driveway. And the vehicle's gonna have to have that same mindset and processing. And so then you either need to take over and manually drive the vehicle. Again, this is if the vehicles are now without steering wheels. Quit being a crybaby. Quit being a crybaby. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Be easy. Be easy. Oh, so, you know, food delivery, you just park out there on the road. And so you know, you don't necessarily have to, you don't have to necessarily execute and get right at that exact location. And honestly, again, either you just manually driving the car with your own phone, or having a teleoperator log in and be able to drive it themselves. Oh, I meant to do something actually real quick. I need to drive forward and backwards. I'm gonna cut out the snow. By the way, if you didn't know to do this, this is something you can do to make your vehicle not get hung up. So just drive back and forth like this and pack down the snow. Because if you just stop and park, I do this like almost every time I park in this deep shit, because it'll pack down this snow right here, and then whenever you go to take off later, you won't have like a ton of built up snow in front of your vehicle. At least it'll be less, you know. You're just basically mitigate some of it. But yeah. So food delivery, all the things, you know, I think food delivery has to be handled by a teleoperator. I think it'd be really weird to have whoever ordered the food to get the vehicle where they want it. I think it would be not a bad idea in a robo-taxi situation where, like, say for instance, it didn't park you close enough to the gym door, or it didn't park you close enough to your home, and so you're like, no, I want you to drive down just a little bit more. But we already have options, right? And actually, this is one option that I want to see in general. This is probably gonna be very hard to do because Tesla doesn't own the maps. The maps are ran by Google, if you didn't know that. But so we can already zoom in, and then like we can just do a pin drop. Oh, you're at the wrong location. No, I want it to be here. Long hold it, boom. Now you can put a pin drop there and go to that location. Okay. The one that I would really love to see is like draw to map. I would love that. Why? Because I want to take a certain route that I want to take, and maybe it's because I want to take the scenic route. Maybe there's a specific route that I want to take for some reason, and I don't want to have to put in 3 different waypoints to get it to go there. But this will also work at final destination. And so what would that be? Like, let's say, for instance, hey, can you stay down, please? Sit. Good boy. Can you see? I don't know if you can see this road right here. Y'all probably can't see any of this shit any good. But point being is, if I could just draw to map, I zoom in where I want to zoom at. I click a button that says draw to map, and then I just go over here and trace out exactly where I want to map, and then doop, hit the button, and then it automatically makes that my route. So that way, if I want to, for example, we do property stuff, right? We invest in properties, and we'll go into neighborhoods and just drive around those properties, right? Maybe I want to come in here and I just want to zigzag, boom, 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 boom. I want to drive through all these roads right here, so I can just boom, boom, draw it out with my finger, and then boom, the car will follow everything that I just did. I mean, the other alternative now would just be like pin drop, pin drop, pin drop, pin drop, pin drop, but like that's kind of convoluted. Just doing all those pin drops would be really annoying. But yeah, I would wrap this video up. I'm kind of just ranting on about different things now that are not about this snow and about this drive, but again, overall, it's done really well. Before I go, like I kind of want to recap on a couple other things. One thing that I noticed that I was getting red hands on a lot, that would just be solved if they just tuned it back, is traction control. So if traction control, it looked like if it engaged to a certain degree, like if they said 100% traction control or like 5% traction control, you know, it seemed like if you got about like above like 10 or 15, 20% of traction control usage, it would disengage. So there was some traction control that was able to occur before disengagement, but I noticed that again, if it was substantial, then it would disengage. And so, hey bro, stop, man. Hey, stop. Traction control, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and one of the things I did to test this, and I noticed was a problem, is day 1, I had no problems with disengagement. And then day 2, I had a lot of problems with disengagement. And the reason why is because day 1, I was on standard. And day 2, I had it on sloth, and I didn't really realize that I was on sloth mode, which is your speed profile or whatever. Why was it disengaging more in sloth mode than standard? Because sloth mode was moving slower, which means the vehicle was not able to build up enough momentum to not need traction control as much. So whenever I cranked it up, standard actually did the best. When I cranked it up to Mad Max, it seemed like it was so aggressive that it would just try to apply too much force and made traction control engage a little bit more. Not like tremendously bad at all. We're just talking about Sloth and Mad Max being somewhat comparable into the amount of disengagements we were getting from traction control. So standard definitely did the best at just maintaining the best amount of traction on the road. And basically traction control was able to give us that feedback and tell us that by being able to see whether traction control was disengaging or was engaging or disengaging, and also if it disengaged autopilot. So that was one big thing that I really that I think it was a big deal from the things that I experienced. I think they could tune that back. Another funny thing was on day one, I was able to hold the gas anytime it gave me the red hands, and the red hands would go away and continue FSD. And it wouldn't make me stop, pull over, park, any of those things. Day two, it did not allow me to do that pretty much any of the times. So I don't know if Tesla was watching me and they said, this guy right here, we got to do something about him because I'm overriding the system or something. I would not be surprised if I got flagged in Tesla's database, because like I drove like miles with red hands, just dirt. It was very, very annoying. But I just want to see how well it would do with it saying it can't do it. It can't drive on its own, and that I need to take over and keep forcing it to go and see how well it actually did. Come to find out, it was pretty much useless because it was really disengaging because of traction control primarily. So I also showcased that in some of my videos where I was able to tap the brakes and hit self-driving. Tap the brakes, hit self-driving. So immediately, as soon as I disengaged, I was able to re-engage again. And again, day one, it just automatically took over and I didn't have to disengage and re-engage. Day two, it was making me disengage and re-engage, but I was able to re-engage immediately. I didn't have to come to a complete stop. I didn't have to clean cameras. I didn't have to do anything like that. Day one, I also experienced a lot of problems with snow and ice up here. And I got some de-icer and put it into the, the fluid reservoir. And that made a significant difference. The de-icer, I was just using whatever the standard fluid was, which definitely wasn't rated for like below freezing. It was like crap. It was almost making it worse because you could see the blue in the ice and stuff like that. So I got the de-icer one and melted it really good. And then like my next feedback, and again I said this in this other video, is FSD needs to be able to engage the fluid dispensers, because FSD has no control over the fluid dispensers right now. And that was one of the ways that I was able to keep FSD going without having any stoppages, right? I could just see like, hey, the camera is going to be having some visibility issues here soon. Let's hit it with some spray. Now the windshield wipers also come on, which is another thing I mentioned. However, I think the windshield wipers come on due to the rain sensor, and I don't think FSD has control over the windshield wipers. I think FSD also needs control over the windshield wipers. So that way the camera can detect, hey, there's rain on me, and activate the windshield wipers. Most vehicles use what's called a rain sensor. There's a small plausibility that maybe they have a rain sensor and they are using vision also. But that's, even if they're using vision, that still doesn't mean that it's vision to FSD to windshield wipers. Why does that make a difference? Because if I have a sensor and its only job is to detect rain, and then, let's say I have a vision sensor, right? And I'm running a tool on it to detect rain. That tool may fail and then not engage the windshield wipers. However, FSD can be using that exact same sensor, the exact same camera sensor, taking that data into FSD, saying, hey, I have a visibility issue. Then it takes it and sends it over to the windshield wipers for an execution of the wipes. And then the FSD can also have a feedback. Did that fix me? Can I now see better? Oh, I can see a little bit better. Do it again. And also, like, in general, like, they can start building that data if they're not already. I mean, they may already be doing these things, right? With these things they're not being public about, but they can collect the data literally on how many swipes that it takes, how much fluid to use, how frequently, should I do 3 of them in a row? These are all things that they can collect data on and have FSD be able to control them to ensure the vehicle can operate in the worst road conditions possible. I'm going to end this video here. It went on way longer than I anticipated for it to go, and we've been just parked and not even driving an FSD, dude. I should have been driving in circles or doing something at least. But anyway, let me know if you like these videos with the snow and all that good stuff. Let me know if there's any other videos in particular you'd like for me to discuss, whether it's Tesla, FSD, whether it's stock market things, property investments, business, whatever. Hit me up. Let me know. Peace out. Have a good one and stay safe.